So the political insanity here in the UK under Starmer regarding the Ukraine, it continues. It's not showing any sign of letting up whatsoever. I mean, the path he is taking the UK, it's a dark one, it's a dangerous one, and it's our kids who are going to pay for it ultimately. Now, when he says he's taking our troops or boots on the ground to Ukraine, think about it. We don't have the manpower. And if we put them there, do you think Putin's going to care? Of course he isn't. Like I said, Britain isn't the world power. We're not as respected as we once were. And that's down to politicians like Starmer. Anyway, I think Starmer has another motive here. And of course, he's a massive fan of Brussels, the unelected bureaucrats telling everyone what to do and taking all our money. Well, it was our money until we kind of left back in 2016. But member states of the EU are being bullied mercilessly by this unelected mafia gang. It's a mafia state, a mafia federal state. It's just threatened all sorts against Hungary now because Viktor Orban refuses to take any migrants. Imagine that, being part of something that makes your life harder because you don't do as they say. That's why we left the EU, folks. Anyway, I think Starmer's using this as an excuse to make our military, the British Armed Forces, part of the European Defence Union. And it's another shady move into getting Britain back into the EU. And it's sinister as well. I mean, the conspiracy theorists out there are suggesting that while our armed forces are securing someone else's border 3,000 miles away in the Ukraine, our southern coast is even less defended. So make of that what you will. And I think even Nigel Farage should have expected better than to ask Keir Starmer for a straight answer at PMQs the other day about our forces going over to the Ukraine, when Keir Starmer simply replied with, "We should be supporting Zelensky, not fawning over Putin." That wasn't Nigel's point, and that wasn't his question. So yeah, Starmer definitely has something sinister in mind when it comes to our armed forces. And as for Zelensky, well, he's effed around and found out, because President Trump has now paused all US military aid to the Ukraine. And do you blame him? I don't. I think this is a great strategy to making Zelensky go to that peace table and just sue for peace with Putin. As long as governments keep giving that guy money, he will never, ever sue for peace. And he told Trump this, and that's when Trump clocked him, I think. How the hell can you persuade a guy to sue for peace when all he wants is money to go to war? And Trump has withheld this funding until Ukraine, well, Zelensky, shows a good faith commitment to peace, which he will never do now because he's got even more money from the EU. But the more Trump talks of peace, the more he's pushing for Zelensky to do the right thing, the more Britain and the EU are banging on that war drum. Why? Why are the people who are suing for peace being demonised by the mainstream media and European politicians? I'll tell you what, Putin must be sat there in the Kremlin laughing his tits off at what's going on here because, I mean, everyone's in disarray. Nobody knows what they're doing. They're escalating things when they shouldn't be. And now there's talks of conscription in Britain. I mean, good Lord. We haven't had conscription since, was it the 50s and 60s when national service ended? So does this mean the beginning of the end for Zelensky? Who knows? But as the old saying goes, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and Zelensky likes to swing that sword around, doesn't he? And it doesn't help when our mainstream media are pushing this narrative as well. Even Julia Hartley-Brewer, a presenter on Talk TV radio, she's becoming massively unhinged regarding the Ukraine war and is very much pro the current thing. And she posted on X the other day, comparing what's happening in the Ukraine to a film called The Darkest Hour. It's a biopic of our own Winston Churchill, and it's utterly ridiculous. What's happening in the Ukraine is sod all like what happened during World War II. This is how demented now prominent people in the UK are regarding this. I don't know about you folks, but I'm really tired of this. I'm tired of Zelensky. I'm tired of the Ukraine. I'm tired of the current thing all the time being pushed by the lefties. I mean, think about it. Yesterday, around 600 people crossed the channel on 11 different dinghies. Yesterday. There is nobody on our southern coast stopping these people. And yet Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, whose goal is to protect this nation, and it's his responsibility, is hell-bent on protecting someone else's borders 3,000 miles away. It's nothing to do with us. It never was. It shouldn't be. And we should be looking after our own. This is ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. And all he's doing is digging a hole for Britain, and that's it. A hole that Britain will find really hard to get out of. I don't know of anyone who is anti the Ukraine war and Zelensky who is also pro-Putin. I'm certainly not. I'm pro-Britain. And this blind loyalty to Zelensky and fawning over him is going to get a lot of Brits killed. I'm telling you now. That's not what I want. Remember, these people who are pushing for a war in the Ukraine to continue, you won't see them putting a helmet on, grabbing a rifle, whacking on boots and body armour, army cabbage kit or whatever, and going over there to put their money where their mouth is. No, they want people like you and me and our kids to do it instead. They will throw our kids into the meat grinder as cannon fodder in the Ukraine to satisfy their own politics. That's how I see it. Enough's enough. If Zelensky won't go to the peace table, then somebody has to make him. And if that person is Trump, then so be it. Any means possible. Lives are at stake here. Millions of lives. He's right. Zelensky is gambling with World War III. He is effing around and he's going to find out. Big time. Anyway, there we go. I'm Paz49. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you like what you hear and you agree with what I say. And I'll catch you guys next time. Roger Trout.